Pittsburgh Steelers win this game against the Las Vegas Raiders 32-13. In the chat, there were some people talking about where Davante Adams could get traded now at this point with the Raiders season. It feels like unraveling. I know there was talk last week about Davante Adams. Like, oh, okay, well, it feels like he didn't like Gardner Minshew. Now they went to Aiden O'Connell. He was like, all right, well, maybe I could come back. I don't know. Look, I think it's more likely he's traded than not. Just like the Emmanuel Forbes stuff. Let's get the trade rumors going. Where's Davante Adams going? You tell me. What team could use him, or just where you would like to see Davante Adams? So as we talk about the Steelers and the Raiders here, you let us know where Davante Adams might be going. Pittsburgh, they won this game big, so we'll give them the honor of highlighting their top 5 graded players in the game first. Edge rusher TJ Watt, I mentioned, I don't think there's anybody doing it better than TJ Watt right now. 94.7 overall grade in this one. I saw he had a 99.0 run defense grade. Absolute stud. He's at the top of the list. Linebacker Landon Roberts with a 91.9. Running back Najee Harris with a 90.7. Defensive tackle Cam Hayward with an 86.4. And then wide receiver Calvin Austin with a 78.3. Quarterback Justin Fields in this one. Not his best game. Fine, they got the dub, 57.3. And then on the other side of things for the Raiders, guard Dylan Parham with a 92.5. Linebacker Devon Diablo with an 88.6. Edge rusher Max Crosby with an 84.5. Tight end Brock Bowers, 80.6. And then offensive guard Jordan Meredith with a 79.5. I mentioned not a great game from Aiden O'Connell, 38.6 overall grade in this one. So they make the switch from Gardner Minshew to Aiden O'Connell. Doesn't really make a big difference, especially not in this one against a good Steelers defense. But stat that told the story, Dalton. What do you got?
I mean, it just kind of is Aiden O'Connell in general, a 39.1 passing grade with 2 turnover-worthy plays and 44 dropbacks, only 3 positively graded throws on the day. But look, Aiden O'Connell's making his first start. There's a lot of the quarterback controversy happening with the Raiders. Davante Adams isn't playing. Jacoby Myers isn't playing. I'm pretty sure Michael Mayer wasn't playing in this game either. I mean, you put Aiden O'Connell out there without most of his best weapons, and it's just Brock Bowers and not a whole lot else to work with against this defense. It's going to be a struggle. It's kind of predictable that this is the way this game would go. Now, props to the Steelers for taking care of business and scoring 32 points here, but this is just a shell of what the Raiders' offense was supposed to be. Zamir White, their starting running back, was out also. Offensively, I'm not really sure how the Raiders were going to score in this game, and you almost feel bad for O'Connell because it's like they just don't have, other than Brock Bowers, they don't have anything out there to work with right now.
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty at all.
I went into this game thinking, very simply, the team that runs the ball better is going to win the game. Because it's not like Aiden O'Connell, even if he was going to be better than Gardner Minshew, you weren't looking to win the game off of his arm. And Justin Fields has been playing very efficient. We've seen some good ball from him, even in the passing game. But still, a lot of what the Steelers want to do is predicated off of how they rush the football. 2 completely different teams here with running the football, and I think that's the reflection in the scoreboard. To me, that is the stat that told the story. Steelers, rushing grade in this one, 90.7. Raiders rushing grade, 41.7. It's just completely different, and the efficiency numbers match that as well. For the Steelers, 12 missed tackles forced per attempt. Raiders, 2 total missed tackles forced. Not per attempt. I shouldn't have said that. They weren't forcing.
That would be fun.
12.
That would be fun to watch.
That would explain the elite grade, but we'd probably need to bump it up. 12 total missed tackles forced for the Steelers in the run game. Only 2 total for the Raiders. 1.2 yards before contact for the Steelers, 0.9 for the Raiders, 3.5 yards after contact for the Steelers, just 1.9 for the Raiders. It was simply a tale of 2 teams that wanted to run the football, and one of them ran it better than the other one. That's it. And then I think, obviously, the defensive side of things as well. Pittsburgh is better up front. They are a better defensive line. They can impose their will when the defense is out there a lot better than the Raiders can, especially with some of the injuries they have. I love how Divine Diablo played. I'll get to that in a second. But that, to me, is just overall the stat that told the story in this game. They wanted to run the ball. They weren't able to very well. You're most impressive in this one.
Well, I'll give an honorary one. That was the best game I think I've ever seen Najee Harris play.
He was great.
Pretty sure.
He was
I
awesome.
believe it was his highest graded game of his career. I think it was his first grade with a 90. So I'll shout that out. But listen, T.J. Watt did not have a single pressure in this game, and I'm still making him my most impressive. You don't see 99 run defense grades floating around. 5 tackles, 2 for a loss, 4 run stops, and apparently skip Charles Tillman. He's been working on this right hook with Mike Tyson, because you talk about punching out 2 fumbles in this game, in the run game. That's part of why that rushing grade for the Raiders was so low. And especially the second one. The one moment, the game was 22-7, where the Raiders had some hope down on the 1 yard line to punch it in and get it within one score and get some momentum. TJ Watt just punches it out from, I believe it was from Alex Madison. And that was just the ball game right there with about 13 minutes left. I mean, TJ Watt, even on a day when he didn't have a single pressure as a pass rusher, was still the best player on the field. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I know there's always arguments about who's the best edge defender and who's the best defensive player. You could have all the arguments, number one, about what you want. But TJ Watt's certainly in the top 3 or 4 without question. And it's because of what he does. It's what he does in the run and pass game, right? We see guys who are one-dimensional, and you go, man, I kind of wish they would do the other one better. There's zero question with TJ. I mean, you talk about punching out 2 of them. How many more guys now, especially we mentioned Tyke Smith earlier. There was one in another game that I can't remember. TJ
Brian Branch, we'll get to him.
Brian Branch, that's right. I mean, how many guys are throwing these right hooks at these footballs and punching them out now? It's crazy.
I saw Will Blackman say this on Twitter. He's like, putting the ball in your outside hand is a lost art.
Yes.
And it is kind of.
I see let me tell you, so many backs in NFL and college now.
Put it in the outside hand.
They don't know what their left hand is. They have no idea. Especially in college, this used to be a thing that was taught when they were 5 years old.
Yes.
Outside arm.
Put it in the outside hand.
I see so many backs now that don't even know they have a left hand.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
It is so much more difficult to go fully across the body to punch the ball out. And because then the second they start to come in, you have the ability to stiff arm
Even
them.
if you do it, the idea is the sideline. You have the sideline, so fine. It
right,
gets
of course.
Towards
right,
the sideline.
Right.
It kills me. Trevor, there's a handful of things that make my friggin' blood boil when I'm watching these games, and having the ball in the inside hand just kills me. Absolutely. And this is the exact reason. It is. And Watt on the second one, I think, did it on the outside because it's down on the goal line. He's just a freak. But it kills me more than like almost anything else on a football field. Like, please put the ball in your outside hand.
Yep. For me, I'll start with most disappointing, and then I'll go into my most impressive. Overall, for me, the most disappointing is just the Raiders defense. This is a unit that there were some metrics last year where they were top 15, even top 10, and I felt like this is going to be a feisty unit with Antonio Pierce there as the head coach, really motivating that side of the ball, how they played during the preseason. I thought that they were pretty impressive there, but Raiders defense, 53.4 defensive grade this season, 30th overall. They're 27th in the NFL in points allowed per game at 27.2. It's just not a good defense. Christian Wilkins been a little hurt, but I thought the addition for him would be great. And losing Malcolm Kuntz hurts, I think, a lot for this team. But it's just not good. It's just not good. And they're one of the worst defenses in the league, unfortunately. And I really did not see that coming. On a positive note, Divine Diablo had a great game. He was awesome in this one. 84.6 overall grade, 90.6 coverage grade. He had 6 tackles. He had a sack. He had an interception that was called back due to roughing the passer, but it was sick. He also had another dropped interception. So he was all over the field. The coverage grade was elite, like you said, for a 90.6 overall grade. And so it's been bad overall for this Raiders defense, but at least Divine Diablo was able to stand out, so I wanted to give him his kudos there. Real quick, most disappointing for you, and then we'll move on to the next one.
I just come out of this game still worried about the Steelers' pass protection and the James Daniels injury, obviously huge. Zach Frazier came out of this game with an injury early. Broderick Jones struggling at right tackle, and Justin Fields was pressured on 22 of his 36 dropbacks. Against a team that can score and take advantage of that, that's a huge problem. And Fields, look, I'm still in the full belief, even when they were losing games, that Justin Fields should be the starter. I don't think there's anything wrong with Fields, but this offensive line was charged with 13 pressures in this game. It's going to be something to watch going forward. I know he's a great athlete, but their passing game, they don't have enough room to work with for their pass protection to not be better than this. So I know it's Max Crosby. I know this is some bad, Max Crosby against Broderick Jones is not a good matchup for Pittsburgh. But
not great.
But this has been a consistent theme since last year, and I'm still worried about their pass protection.